Hello, good afternoon. You're welcome. This is the law. It is your health law, and it is your legal light. This afternoon, once again, we have in the studio lawyers from the Legal Aid Commission. They'll tell you a special story, something that you ought to be excited about, that they are going to avail themselves even the more to defend you, the poor. We'll be right back. You're welcome back. This is the law. It is your help law. It is your legal light. And every Sunday afternoon, we come your way with the law, providing you free platinum legal advice and empowering you with the law as well. So, we're going to help educate you about what is known as the Public Defenders Division, PDD, of the Legal Aid Commission. It's being officially inaugurated on Wednesday. That's the 10th of May, 2023. And the officers from that office are here with us. They will, of course, help you to get direct assistance to legal aid. So, my guest, Rita Kunkote Ali, is Assistant Legal Aid Officer and with the Public Defenders Department of the Legal Aid Commission. Jeffrey Abe Adamson is also Assistant Legal Officer with the Public Defenders Division of the Legal Aid Commission. Rita is no stranger to you. Good afternoon. Welcome to the law. Good afternoon, Jeffrey.
Thank you for having us.
Right. So, first of all, 101. Who is the public defender that we are talking about? Who are you? We know that you are Legal Aid Commission. So, all we know is that once we are poor and we can't pay for lawyer services, we just come to Legal Aid and we get help. We don't care what designation. Yeah. So, what is this public defender?
Yes. So, basically, a public defender at the Legal Aid Commission is a lawyer who defends accused persons, simply put. Now, our new act, provides for divisions at the Commission. It provides for Citizens Advisory, the ADR division, and the Public Defenders Division. So this is, if you like we have at the Attorney General's office, we have the prosecutions and the civil divisions. So these divisions are now created at the Commission so that lawyers at the Public Defenders Division will strictly deal with only criminal cases that comes to the division, so that you don't have to juggle criminal and civil cases at the same time, so that you're not in the land court and they are calling you in the criminal courts. So now a public defender will only deal with only criminal cases that comes to the Commission. And the criminal cases are varied. So any person or any accused person found in conflict with the law and comes to the Commission, then will be given representation by way of a public defender.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, for starters, you have 3 clear divisions.
Yes.
You say Citizen Advisory.
Advisory. So they will now be doing the civil cases.
Okay.
Talk about land, divorce, commercial, and all the other cases.
Else.
Yes, they will deal with it.
And then you have the Public Defenders Division.
Yes.
You will deal with only criminal matters.
Yes.
You won't do with any other thing.
No.
Only criminal.
Only criminal.
They are the difficult ones. So.
Yes. Yeah. Very difficult.
Okay.
Very.
And then you say there's another one, the ADR division.
Yes. They do the mediation at the Commission, so that if you come with a matter that we think can be dealt with at the mediation level, that can be mediated on, we just invite the other party, and then we have officers to mediate and then resolve the issues.
Great.
Yeah.
So, for starters, that's the education for you, that when you are going to the Legal Aid Commission these days, you go there knowing that there are 3 separate divisions within that institution. There's a citizen advisory. They are responsible for civil matters, matters of your divorce, matters of your land issues, maybe somebody owes someone, those things, commercial matters. Again, the thing that comes up too often here on the platform when we talk about it, the estate issues. Somebody is dead and their property distribution is becoming an issue and people don't have money to pay for LA.
A lot of those issues.
And good. She says they get a lot of those issues. These will be dealt with by the Citizen Advisory Division. And then there is the ADR Division. The ADR Division, I'm very happy about that because I'm a practitioner and I know how courts, you can spend money, you can spend time, and in the end, what you get, you ask yourself, like they say, did you go or did you come? You may have spent so much, but through ADR, you can have your matter resolved very quickly, and there's no animosity. It's a win-win. Nobody is a winner, nobody is exactly a loser, so to speak. But this afternoon, we are here with an emphasis and the focus on the third division, not in any particular order, but the third division, which is the Public Defenders Division. It is the reason Rita and Jeffrey are here. Jeffrey, Public Defenders Division, she summarizes that by saying that you are responsible for the criminal cases. And on this platform, people know there are people who are listening who have benefited directly. You know, when we brought you first, we're doing this education on this platform, somebody had an issue and they called in the course of the week and you guys went to the rescue of that person who would have been in custody, but he survived it. So what more can you tell us about the Public Defenders Division?
Thank you, Samson. Thank you for the opportunity. The public defender system has been there for quite some time.
Okay.
It started with the US, started from the US, Spain subsequently picked it up. But in Ghana, if you look at the legislations over time that has regulated the activities of legal aid, there has been some concentration of criminal practice. But Act 2018, Act 977, has brought in new ways and has established the division. It has established a division to coordinate the activities.
So this division is a creation of law?
It's a creation of law. This division is one of the novelty that Legal Aid Act 2018, Act 977, has created. Hitherto, we were just practicing criminal and civil matter, but these divisions have been created. Now, the idea of this Public Defenders Division stems from the fact behind economic theory that people cannot afford legal services, and as a result of that, legal services are on sale. So government through the Constitution empowers government to say, okay, if legal services are on sale and some cannot afford it, then I'm going to purchase it. So this government steps in, purchase that legal service or services that people cannot afford to pay and give to legal aid. They give to legal aid to regulate those who must access this particular aid. And this has to do with criminal law or persons who have...
I like the way you put it. To wit, you are providing free legal services, but the government has bought that, paid for. So the one you are representing shouldn't think that whatever it is, there's money that is going in, but it is the state that is taking care of it.
That is so.
Great, great, great. Why do you think that it is important to actually put a separation and the law should create and say you are a public defender? Because legal aid, we know all you do is you are defending the public. Or Rita will come in there.
Let me take that. And then I was going to add to what Jeff said, but I think this also answers your question. So if you look at Article 14
Right.
of the Constitution, it provides for protection of personal liberty. Now, I think Article 17 also provides for equality and freedom from discrimination. So that if the state has brought you before the courts for a crime you are alleged to have committed, you must or you need a lawyer to be able to put your case across. And that will bring you equal, both parties equal before the law. Because the defense is very important. If at the end of the day the courts decide that you have a case to answer, you must prepare a good defense. And an unrepresented accused person cannot prepare his or her own defense. You need a lawyer. So I think that has also brought up this whole idea of the Public Defenders Division and made it necessary. And like Jeff said, over time, it wasn't really thought about. Now it has been thought about, and we think that it's time we have this division there and then make the general public aware of the existence of this division.
In fact, the Article 14 you refer to actually says, among other things, that if you are arrested, you are restricted, you are detained.
Exactly.
Because you are a suspect or anything, that you are entitled to a lawyer of your own choice.
So from that, right from the time of arrest up until the time of sentencing.
A lawyer of your own choice.
Yeah.
I may be able to afford a lawyer, but if I can't afford a lawyer, then how do I get a lawyer of my own choice? You will come in.
Yeah, then we will come in. We work, we work a lot with the police. There are times the police themselves will call on us and tell us, okay, there's this accused person in this custody. Can you help? Or they send the family members of the person to us. So that's where we come in.
Okay.
Once you cannot afford a lawyer of your own choice, that means you're a man of straw, you're a poor accused person.
Right.
We come in to assist you with all the legal services for free.
Right. We have gone over what makes you qualified to access the service before, to assess the service before, but we will try and go over that again. Now, even before we go to all of that, I want us to acknowledge that on Wednesday, this division of the Legal Aid Commission is going to be launched or inaugurated. Tell us a bit about that first.
Yeah, so the launching of the Public Defenders Division of the Legal Aid Commission is going to be launched on Wednesday. We're all happy about it. I think all 37 lawyers of us across the country doing this business of defending are happy and excited. And in fact, the whole commission is happy. So the launching is taking place at the former Golden Tulip, now Lancaster Hotel, at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. It's quite a big program. The Attorney General will be there. The CJ, who is our immediate former board chair, will be there. Most of the judges, if not all, will be present, especially those in the criminal division of the High Court, and then the Circuit Court judges. And the other Superior Court judges will be present as well.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You are looking forward to this launch. What difference does it really bring? You're already in the business.
I'm saying thank you. Awareness creation is very important. Now, this is a milestone as far as legal aid practice is concerned. The reason being that now there is some deliberate concentration on criminal practice. So, at one key advantage that the lawyers who would be working within this division would acquire a specialization, and specialization is very key in every trade.
Yeah.
So, that is one aspect. The other aspect that we also want to draw home to people, let people appreciate, is the fact that if you are poor, it doesn't mean you can't access legal service, particularly when you have a brush with the law, because we are advocates for the law.
That brings me here. The whole of the country, less than 40 of you. That's woefully inadequate.
Yeah. And I was going to add to what Jeff said, the difference that it also brings to us as lawyers at the Commission is that our focus now will be only on criminal cases. And it reduces, if you like, to some extent, our workload.
Okay.
Because in the past, we're going to be doing,
general
doing
practice.
everything together, general, everything. But now our focus will only be on the criminal cases, and it will reduce our workload.
So please understand, he's not saying that the Legal Aid Commission's focus is going to be criminal matters. If you are just joining us, there is the Citizen Advisory, there is a ADR division. All these divisions have the lawyers who do the work that we have already outlined. But there is also the Public Defenders Division, and they represent the Public Defenders Division, which is a creation of the new law. And she's saying that that is going to help them, like Jeffrey said, specialize and pay a lot more attention, focus on helping people with criminal matters. So this is how it is. When you commit a crime or a criminal offense, you are suspected of a criminal offense, it is the state that prosecutes you. The people involved who go and tell the police about it, they are only complainants. So it is actually the state that is prosecuting you. The same state that is prosecuting you is offering you a lawyer.
Yeah.
So the state is prosecuting you from the Attorney General's end and the police's end, and then defending you from the Legal Aid Commission's end, which is also under the Attorney General, right?
No,
you are not.
It's a commission.
Yes, now you are a commission, so you are independent.
Under the Ministry.
Yeah. Okay.
Ministry of Justice.
Ministry of Justice, right. So Jeffrey, I mentioned that I know, for example, like state prosecutors across the country, we don't have a lot to talk about. It's in Accra that you may say there's quite a number, but we know elsewhere there could be just one person. I don't know if the situation has improved now. So 37 of you, that's still a lot of work.
Yeah.
That's true, something. If you look at some of the challenges with legal aid, now we have 51 lawyers in the country who are rendering criminal legal aid to persons in both civil and criminal.
Right.
Now, the breakdown, if you look at Greater Accra alone, we have 14 lawyers. Ashanti region, 10 lawyers. Eastern region, 6 lawyers. Western region, 6.
That's encouraging, really.
Brown Ahafo, 6. Volta region and Uti, we have 2. We have 2 in Central region, Upper East region, 2 in the Northern region, and Northeast, and 1 in Upper West region. It is still inadequate. Looking at the cases that come to legal aid and the lawyers who are supposed to handle these matters. For example, for Greater Accra and Ashanti, 7 lawyers have been dedicated to the criminal legal aid practice, and 5 in Ashanti has also been dedicated to the criminal practice. But this practice stems from the district court up to the Court of Appeal, Supreme Court. So it is still inadequate. We plead with government to have a look at the financial clearance matters, so that as this division is about to be established or launched, yes, government will consider a roadmap of engaging more lawyers. Because when the lawyers are available, they get the work done. But when the lawyers are not available, it becomes a problem.
The last time we spoke about the Legal Aid Fund, the fund for this purpose. And I just want to remind you, if you are listening to us, you may be watching us, you are a philanthropist, you've been looking for areas where you can do some good to society. I think one of the places that you can do that is to the Legal Aid Commission. Make some, it doesn't matter, I was going to say make some substantial donation to them, but it doesn't matter how much you have. Once you want to assist them, it will be very useful. We know that our prisons are congested, and sometimes the issues have to do with the fact that the people who are there don't just have services, legal services to assist them. Now, earlier, we sort of attempted to talk about who can access, the services of the public defender. But Jeffrey, let's begin from there once again in a very clarified manner. Who qualifies to access the services of a public defender?
Okay. So anybody who is in conflict with the law can come over to any of the offices at legal aid to apply for legal aid. Offices at legal aid to apply for this particular aid. Now, the Act mandates us to do a screening. So when the person comes in, we'll do our internal screening, take the biodata of the person, and assess by our own internal tests, means tests, reasonable tests, or merit tests, to see whether or not the person qualifies. Because like as I have earlier stated, the aid is for a category of people. It must not be distributed anyhow.
That's right.
Yes, so we have also taken steps to regulate that. And something, if you look at the Court Act 1993, Act 459, amended, particularly on Section 114, it says, the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, and the High Court or Regional Tribunal may assign a lawyer by way of legal aid to any party to any proceedings before the court or tribunal, where the court or tribunal is of the opinion that it is desirable in the interest of justice, one, that the party should have legal aid and that he is financially unable to obtain the services of a lawyer. So those two key words are very important to us: interest of justice and financially unable.
Interesting points there. We have previously explained also the various tests that Jeffrey just put out, but we will go over them again. The means test, the merit test, and the reasonable, what's the other test? Yes, Rita, help us. Or if you want to continue from there, the three tests that you use to determine a person who is qualified.
So the third one is on the merits.
Yes.
If you come and then we look at you give us a summary of your case, and then we see that it has merits, then we come in. But as you know, even for criminal cases, we are very reluctant when it comes to the test, because we always look at it from the point of view that the person's liberty is at stake. And it's always a case that by the time the case comes to us, the accused person is in custody. Is still in custody, lawful custody, and requires representation.
That's right.
Whether the court has directed or the police called on us or the family came to us, it's always the case that the person is still in. So we start from the point of bail all the way to maybe a conviction or acquittal. So we are very, very reluctant when it comes to criminal cases. And we have also noticed that the type of people or the kind of people who comes to us are the very poor people, if you like. You won't find, you rarely will find somebody who maybe has been accused of stealing maybe about 1 million or 2 million Ghana cedis coming to the commission. The person will go for his or her own lawyer. So the cases will get, maybe somebody has stolen a fowl, maybe a goat, or some small amount of money, those are the people who come to us. So we will just, take it up and start working with it.
So, means test, she started to explain merit and spoke about the fact that even particularly for criminal cases, you don't try to talk about the merit too much. So explain the other mechanisms that you use to determine who qualifies for legal aid.
Right.
To access the public defender.
Right. Okay. So if we talk about the merit test will have to do with the case that, has been brought to legal aid. And we will assess it based on the background in terms of the facts, among other things, because there are people who would go to private lawyers and the record will show they've taken bail, there are lawyers who are coming, there are lawyers who had assisted them. Then they abandon their lawyers and come to legal aid. So we will conduct a merit test to ascertain what the reasons were that you left the private lawyer and came to legal aid to access legal aid. Yes, because as for criminal matter, once the person is an accused person, it means that he has to gather all the necessary defense and all the necessary material to marshal up a particular defense. So as Rita intimated, that is also a bit relaxed, because when you come, we want to have an assessment. And that assessment would have to depend on whether you really qualify for legal aid or it is just a sham by coming to legal aid to waste our resources. Yeah. Now, the reasonable test is limited to provisions under Article 294 of the Constitution. Yes, 2941, which talks about, enforcing of the Constitution, that legal aid must assist persons to enforce any provisions of the Constitution. So at least we will have to come to the conclusion and see whether there is a course of action to assist the person to enforce such provisions under the Article 294 of the Constitution.
This is the reasonable
Yes, the reasonable
test.
The reasonable test.
Okay.
So that may not necessarily apply to
the public defender.
Yes. So like I said, I remember we had a discussion about the test to be used for the division, and then we concluded that because they are criminal cases, we will not really ask for much.
And like you said, because the person is coming, and first of all, they are in custody.
Yes.
So
custody.
Immediately you need to secure their liberty.
Yes.
Okay.
First and foremost. So that is usually our focus. And like I said, we know the type of people or the kind of accused persons who come to us. we know they're in a certain class of their own. They are very poor. They cannot get a lawyer of their own choice. So usually, most of the cases are referrals from the courts, or sometimes the prison officers themselves, or the police.
The new batch of lawyers were called to the bar just Friday.
Yeah.
And CJ once again, it's a ritual, isn't it? Called on the lawyers to be minded to do pro bono. They should try and help people who can't afford lawyers and do some of their cases for them. That has always been the case.
Yeah.
It is admitted that you are not sufficiently funded in numbers and everything.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll not even need to call on these private lawyers,
to come.
most of whom often are oriented in doing their business, to come and help you for free.
Yeah.
So that takes me to the question, how are your challenges like? What are some of the challenges that you face? And what are you doing about it? What do you want to be done about them?
Well, our challenges are enormous. They are. I think the last time we were here, we gave a tall list of our problems. But the good thing, or the good news, is that the commission is growing. I'm not sure 5 years ago, there was this number of lawyers.
That's right.
At the commission. There was no talk about the defenders division, or these divisions which are now created. So the commission is growing. But our major problem is funding. Because that's our omnibus problem. Once we have funding, I think everything else.
If you have funding, you can hire more lawyers.
Yeah, we can. We can hire more lawyers. We can buy printers. We can
get more vehicles.
Even an office space. We can get vehicles because, for example, for the whole of Greater Accra, we go to Pram, Tema, Amasama, all these places. Sometimes you have to go on your own because there's no vehicle or there's no fuel to put in the 1 or 2 vehicles that we have to transport lawyers to court.
Right.
So as for our challenges, they are enormous. We're hoping that once the fund, the commission's fund was launched, something good would have come out of it. We are still waiting. We are still waiting about it. We really haven't heard much about it, so we are still waiting.
So what?
But Samson, talking about the lawyers and the CJ's call for lawyers to do pro bono cases, some of the lawyers are helpful, to be honest.
That's
when
true.
when we assign cases to external lawyers, they readily take it and do. But for criminal cases, they are reluctant. That's the truth.
They can be draining.
If you assign a murder case to an external solicitor, he or she may not take it. If you assign a robbery case, sometimes
Why do you think that is so?
Some of our
Let me
cases,
pretend I don't know.
No, yeah, pretend you don't know. And let's, you see, some of the cases that come to us sometimes are very bad. Very extremely bad. You look at the facts and everything is bad. So such a case, if you assign to an external solicitor, he or she will not take it. But we still do our best to defend.
Yeah, Jeffrey, what do you think normally are the problems about some of the cases that you receive, that you have to defend people?
Okay. One major problem has to do with the statements that the accused person gives to the police. And it's very critical because, you know, the foundation...
The beginning of everything,
is
foundation.
The foundation, the beginning of everything. So the accused persons at a point in time would intimate to you that, no, they didn't give that statement. But at that time, it is too late. It is too late. And most often are not the court-referred cases. Before it gets to you, there's nothing the lawyer can do by way of, you know, assisting in proper defense. What I mean by that is, when it is already assigned to you and you take the brief, now by the grace of God, we have disclosures. So when you review the files, it is so bad that, you know, yours is to ensure that the procedure goes through rightly.
But still, you are able to do these cases, defend people successfully. You get them out of first out of custody, as in on remand, and sometimes you get them to win their cases. They get acquitted. You know what? On the basis of what you just said, the beginning, what would be your advice to members of the public when they come into conflict, as you say, with the law, criminal law?
Right. So when you are called as a suspect to any case, you have the option to tell the police officer that you want to speak to a lawyer from legal aid, or you want a lawyer from legal aid to assist you. I'll give you a practical example. Gregory Afoku's case, yes, one of our regional directors went with him to the police station at the time he was taking the statement. It is very, very important. So you would not say that, okay, the police has forced you, because the police will caution you that you have the right to consult a counsel. So we are telling you, when you have a problem with the law and you don't have a lawyer, you don't have the means to get in contact with a lawyer, tell the police that you want to speak to a legal aid lawyer, and we would provide such an assistance for you.
How is the suspect guaranteed that police have picked me up, and if I tell them I can't afford the services of a lawyer, but I'm not ready to give my statement unless I have a lawyer, and I want them to get me a legal aid lawyer? How am I assured that they will get the person for me, the lawyer for me, in good time enough? They will not take 2-3 days and I'll still be languishing in custody.
You see something, that's a very good question. And that's how come legal aid, through this act, has been advocating for paralegals, that the system of paralegals will be developed so that we have people at the police stations waiting to assist accused persons in that regard. So I think by way of...
Paralegals, people who are not lawyers but have received some training,
yes.
Basic
training. Yes, so I think we should have some conversations on paralegals so that the vulnerable accused person or suspect who is called by the police for interrogation can be assisted by...
Particularly in the hinterlands, right, Rita, where you may not even find a single lawyer there.
Yeah.
But if you trained somebody with reasonable education there, they will stay there. You know, many lawyers are trained and they want to stay in Accra and the towns. They don't want to go anywhere.
Yes, the issue of paralegals is something we have been talking about. In fact, ever since we joined the commission, the conversation has been going on with the various stakeholders, the AGs, police, judicial service, prisons, and all of it. And we are still talking about it, whether or not paralegals should be trained and stationed at the various police stations, who will serve as a liaison between the commission and the various police stations. So that if an accused person is brought, sometimes some of the accused persons don't have any family to follow up on their cases for them. If they do, it's simple, it's easier. The family will just come to us on behalf of the accused person who is in custody, and then we'll assist. But where the accused person doesn't have anybody, if there's a paralegal stationed at that police station, he or she can bring the matter to us. You have the forms with you, you fill it, and then you bring it to us, and the matter is assigned.
Right.
So that is something that we are still working on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember some 6-7 years ago, your commission, at the time were you a commission? Yeah.
No, we're not.
Your boss at the time, working together with Attorney General, they were mounting this crusade for paralegals to be trained and even accepted to actually do advocate or represent in the district courts, so that they will work there, and because there are district courts all over the country in the corners that lawyers will not go, you know, and people need the services, right? You're still here on the law. It's your legal light, it's your help law, and we are talking to the Legal Aid Commission, we're talking to its public defenders division officials, two of them, Rita Kunkuti Ali and Jeffrey Abe Adamson. They are all assistant legal aid officers with the public defenders division, which is to be officially inaugurated on Wednesday at the Lancaster Hotel. And they're just sharing with us what you need to know if you get into trouble with the law and you need help, but you can't afford it. So we'll open the phone lines. You can join us if you have any questions for them in accessing legal services free of charge, paid for by the state. Jeffrey and I established that earlier. Legal services paid for by the state. The same state that will be prosecuting you for the offense that you are suspected of committing. But remember the lesson that has just been shared with you. If you are arrested, the first thing you do when you get to the police station is that they take your statement. That statement is very important to the lawyer who will represent you. So, if you are not too sure what it is, don't say anything, because the police will tell you. You have a right to be silent. Else, anything you say could be used against you in court. When they say that, it's not just a mere statement, it's a very important statement, significant statement. And Jeffrey says that's the foundation. So you can say, well, I don't have money, I can't afford a lawyer, but can you get me a legal aid lawyer who will assist me to put my statement down? The only challenge, as I just asked them a while ago, is whether they will help to get you the legal aid officer quick enough before they can process your bail. So you can call us and ask your questions to Rita and Jeffrey. Hello, Sadiq, where are you calling us from? What's your question?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm calling from Tumo.
Yes, Sadiq, let's hear you.
Yes, I had an issue before. and then I requested for the legal aid. When the man came, initially he was doing everything right. It got to a time he was demanding for money. That unless I give him money for transport to court, because that from where he is and come to the court, it takes, unless he buy fuel or use something, so unless I pay for his transportation to the court, which was at least expensive, because when I asked how much it at least I get like 1,000. So I realized 1,000 like almost like it was like getting a lawyer. It was no more, to me, it wasn't free anymore.
This was in Tumu?
It was in Wa actually.
In Wa, which year? Which year?
Oh, just about 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yes, please.
I see. So how did it end? Did you have to dispense with the person and go for a lawyer, or what did you do?
Because he was doing that, I decided to just ignore him and then just take it on the case myself. There was no, because he was no more coming to court. So before one day, I just went to the court and the judge decided that the case was not even a criminal case. That was a civil.
He asked you to pay his transportation.
Yes.
Where was he coming from to the court?
No, it's like the office was in Wa. His office was in Wa.
Right.
And the court was also in Wa.
Mm-hmm. But there was some distance. He needed to drive to get there, right?
Oh, that sounds like it wasn't that. To me, it was just about 4 blocks from his office to the court, just like 4 buildings.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But he told me that sometimes that you have a case in the circuit court or high court.
All right.
But he has to leave those cases and come and attend to my issue. So which means he's leaving more important cases to attend to mine. So
okay.
he was later asking of money, demanding for me to give him something.
Okay, thank you.
So at the end of the day, the judge dismissed the case and said that the case was not a criminal case, that it was a civil issue. So he dismissed that. By then, he has also stopped coming to the court long ago.
Okay, so you were lucky. The case was dismissed, so you didn't suffer anything.
Yes.
Okay. All right, but at least he was willing to support you. He was willing to help you. He has started, but he only wanted transportation.
Yes.
Okay.
The transportation, he said 1,000. I should give him 1,000.
Okay.
So to me, it wasn't anymore. Or like
we have heard you. Thank you, Ali. Thank you so very much. I'm not too sure if 1,000 is the cost of, renting legal services, but what do you say to such a situation?
Well, this is a peculiar case that I think Jeff and I cannot speak to. This is a side of
imagine.
Of the
so
story.
What do we tell the public? As a legal aid officer, are you supposed to be the one to fuel their vehicle and so on?
No, not at all. The services of the commission are entirely free. Everything is free. And no lawyer is entitled, let me use the word entitled, to take transportation or anything from any of our clients or accused person. No,
but a while ago, you spoke about the difficulties that sometimes you can't even get fuel into your car.
So I was coming to that, but there are instances where it is difficult. It is extremely difficult for the lawyer even to move to the court. So if a lawyer is representing you in a criminal matter where your liberty is at stake and court day is tomorrow and he doesn't have fuel in his car, or he's not even driving, he doesn't have a car, and then he says, okay, can you, he's not entitled, but he can ask, can you, and you have, and I don't think there will be too much to ask.
Jeffrey.
But you are not entitled, you're not supposed to,
right.
It's not in our
You're not supposed to ask, you're not supposed to demand.
Yeah.
But if because of that, you can't attend to the person, what will you tell them?
Then you have to, go to court or direct them to court for an adjournment, actually.
You have to tell them to go ask the judge to adjourn the case.
You write
a letter.
Formally to the court for an adjournment. The practical difficulty that we face as, legal aid practitioner has to do with, vehicles. Getting vehicles to court. Okay,
let me get to John. John, you are calling us from Cape Coast. Let's hear you.
Yes, sir. I so have this. Mr. Jeff is my friend for Cape Coast, Senator Hospital. I'm one of the drivers that term is there for the school in Cape Coast.
Sorry, say that again.
I said, Mr. Jeff, lawyer, Jeff. I looked for a number very long time, but I don't know how to get the number for this, my boss. But I'm one of the taxi driver in Cape Coast, Spiritual Hospital. The time Mr. Jeff engaged school, then I'm one of the others to Spiritual Hospital.
Do you appreciate what he's saying? Okay,
Jeff's
okay.
friend.
Oh, okay. You want
he has a
Jeff's
question.
contact?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Leave your number with the production team. The number you just called, leave your number with that number, and let's see what can be done to help you. But you were making a point earlier.
Yes, so you write a letter to the court for the stated reason. And as Rita was, putting across, sometimes the reality, it becomes very difficult, challenging to go to court. For example, if you have a court from Accra and you have to go to Nsawam, or you have to Nsawam prisons, and there are no fuel from the office, fuel to, use the official vehicle to go. It becomes difficult.
I was listening to your board chair, Justice Nana Megache, and he spoke about your allocation as in budget from the state and how much had been released to you as at last year. And it's okay, I won't say what I want to say.
It's even embarrassing to say, I know.
All right, it's really embarrassing. Hello, Samuel.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you're calling us from where?
Amasaman.
Amasaman. Okay,
Yeah.
please, what do you want to know from the Legal Aid Commission? Oh, did we lose Samuel? Okay, Samuel, sorry about that. You can call us again. So if you are watching, you can call us. The numbers are as advertised. You can call us and then my guest will answer your question. But I wanted to read this to you, both of you, and then ask your view on it.
Okay.
How this is practical in today's world in the legal aid business. So it's about the case of George versus Wainwright. Hello, Frederick. Hello, Frederick.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, please, I would like to contribute towards the discussion about the legal aid.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this legal aid issue is a very critical issue that our state must critically look at it, because there is a majority of Ghanaians who need this legal aid, but they couldn't have access to it. And when you look at it, it looks like our politicians are very quiet about this human-centered initiative or policy that will help we, the citizens. So I'll take this platform to appeal to our legal aid officials that they should speed up the process and make sure that they spread the offices across the nation and educate Ghanaians about it.
Okay, thank you very much. That's exactly what is going on now. Thank you very much. Call us if you have a specific question about how to access legal aid, how to access the public defenders. That's very important to us. Where do you live? Where do you want to know if they have an office or not, and so on. And when you are coming to them, what are you required? What's it? Those basic things. Call us and tell us about those. But I was saying I was going to share this with you and ask your view if it is the situation. The court in George versus Wainwright held that there was a requirement for state courts to appoint attorneys for defendants who could not, you can look at it as you see on the screen, who could not afford to retain counsel on their own, and reasoned that this is a fundamental and essential right unless completely and intelligently waived. This is the trademark case on achieving access to justice, and it's still being discussed 60 years later. It's been over 60 years of this case, and we are still talking about access to justice, legal aid. Does that mean that we are not doing well with it? Let me take this next question. What's your name? Richard, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Boku.
Yes, Boku. Richard, let's hear you.
Yes, I want to find out the legal aid. Maybe when somebody is owing you and you send a case there and then they call and then the person pays the money, are they supposed to take a percentage?
When someone is owing you?
Yes, I sent a case there. Somebody was owing me and then they were able to receive the money. But at the end of the day, I paid a percentage of the amount they paid.
Okay, thank you very much. I suppose that was explained to you because it's part of what they do. Yes, what can you say to him?
Yeah, that will be in civil matters, of course, not in...
Citizen Advisory Division.
Yes, under that division. We have that arrangement where at the end of each case, if you secure judgment and you're getting some money or settlement, we take a percentage. I think it's about 5%.
5%
of whatever.
That's very small, eh?
Yeah, very small.
Okay.
And that even goes into the fund, the consolidated fund, not the legal aid.
To assist everybody else.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. So, but I'm sure when you went there, that was explained to you first. You actually must have signed the document and understood before you signed that if they get your money for you, because in your case, you are going to sort of recover debt. You are going to recover money. So if you are going to recover money, you could equally go to any lawyer and they could agree with you to do it for you and take money from you. Newman, you'll be our last caller. Let's hear you. You are calling from where, Newman? Hello, Newman?
Yes, sometimes.
Yes, where are you calling from? Go ahead.
Yes, I'm calling from Meta in the Northern District, in the Volta region.
Let's hear your question.
Yeah, please, I want to find out under what conditions does one really qualify to access the legal service? Can it be under the condition that you are not having money now, you access and later you pay, or it's entirely free?
Okay.
If somebody's case is heard and after free money is paid, the person pays 5%. What about if it's not a case that involves financial transactions?
Right. I think you can give a straightforward answer. Let's start with you. If it doesn't involve money,
it's entirely free.
Yeah. Entirely free. Yes. Completely free.
Completely free.
But if, like you said...
at the end of it, you secure judgment and then you get some settlement out of it, then we take the 5%.
And you'll be told that upfront before it happens, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So I wanted us to end on this note. I was asking that, I mean, over 60 years since we realized that legal aid is very important and people deserve it unless they say we don't want it. We're still talking about it and it's inadequate. Does that mean we are not doing well?
Well, like I said earlier, that we are growing. Legal aid is very necessary in the aspects of justice and very important in every jurisdiction. Legal aid is a big deal in the US and other developed countries. But in this part of our world, legal aid is a typical public office, and I would say that much attention has not been given, to the office, to the commission.
Okay.
But we are growing, and we have come to the point where we have this act now that makes us a commission and allows us to present our budgets from time to time.
Okay.
Yes, so I believe that with time, we'll get to the point where everybody will see that we are doing very well.
Great. Yes, Jeffrey.
Something, legal aid now is for everybody. Legal aid is your legal aid, my legal aid. It is not only limited to government. So you ask yourself, corporate Ghana, what contribution have you made towards legal aid? Individuals, what contribution have you made towards legal aid? Legal aid is your legal aid, is my legal aid, is our legal aid.
Interesting. So see you on Wednesday at 9 a.m. at the Lancaster Hotel when you'll be formally, officially inaugurated to help Ghanaians who can't afford, not Ghanaians, any person who can't afford the services of a lawyer when they find themselves in a criminal matter. I'm Samson Ladia Yanini. This has been The Law. It is your legal light. It is your help law. And my guests have been Rita Kunkuti Ali, who is Assistant Legal Aid Officer with the Public Defenders Division of the Legal Aid Commission. So is Jeffrey Abe Adamson. Have a good afternoon.